Hey guys, I'm so happy to be able to bring you a design today to wrap a crescent moon cab. These are so tricky to wrap, and when I was trying to come up with this design, I have made so many, but I'm really happy with this one. It kind of looks like a net and it's pulled tight on every angle, on every corner, but they are actually really tricky to wrap. So this one is the one that I've ended up on, and it's awesome, I love it. So I'm going to teach you that today. So we pop a little bead on the top of ours, and we also put 2 adjustable sliding knots to make it adjustable. So I just wanted to show you these. These are the ones I'm using on the right, and these ones on the left do not have pointy enough points. See how these ones are actually quite pointed there? That is the type that we need to be able to wrap around. These ones on the left hand side just are not pointy enough. So we'll get rid of those ones. Then we've got our ruler, scissors. We've got one little bead there, which is optional if you want to put it on the top. And then our 1mm waxed twine that we're going to use to wrap our crescent moon. So we start out with about 45 inches of waxed twine. Now just finding the middle of the twine. This is quite a complex design in that the knots and the spacing has to be quite accurate. Because of the shape of the crescent moon, if your knots are too big, it's going to slip over and not grab onto the pointy part properly. So you'll need to adjust your knots. I've had to do it a couple of times for each one just to make sure they sit in the exact right position. But if you can get them in the right spot, that's where the magic happens. Okay, so in the middle of our wax twine, we're just going to make a little loop. And this loop is going to be about 1.5 centimeters long, or just slightly under for my cab. Your cab might be slightly different size, but that there is about 1.5 centimeters long. Okay, then we need to, I just grabbed the longer side and do it towards that one. So we're going to now try and do another one that's going to be spaced about 1 centimetre apart. About 1 centimetre along that way is hopefully going to be our knot. And then we're going to make another loop that is about 1.5 centimetres long. So these probably are one of the most important parts of the whole design. You'll see what I mean when I say they have to be quite accurate. So my knots there were not quite right, so I undid them. Just the one there, and tried again to get it more accurate, because if I don't do it here, it's going to actually wreck the whole design. So it's just better that I take some extra time now. So you can see it's 1 centimetre apart each knot, and then each loop is just under 1.5 centimetres. Okay, so I think this one's good. We'll give it a whirl. So just grabbing your crescent moon cab now, you're going to slip each loop over both the pointy parts of the cab and just sort of pull it tight. With these tutorials, you end up doing quite a bit of manipulating of the twine just to get it into the right spots. If it doesn't sit right, you can kind of manipulate a little bit until it's in the right spot for you. So those ones are going to go at the back, so I'm just making sure that the knots are sitting at the back. Then we've got the tails at the back coming straight up. So I'll start with the top one, and I'm just going to pull that up straight and then pull it around the front. Just loosen that little piece that comes over the front a little bit and pull it through. Okay, so that was the top tail coming out the back, goes into the top piece coming over the front. Okay, so now we'll do it with the bottom tail. Just threading it under the bottom front piece. So just kind of wiggle them there until they're in the spot that you're happy with. So we'll bring those tails over the front, and we're just going to tie one simple knot there at the front to bring those tails together. So this little simple knot needs to sit just at the front there. So just down a bit from the top. I'm just still manipulating all those, making sure that they're nice and tight on each part, and then just pulling that simple knot tight. So just gently lift that top piece on the same side as the tail and push the tail underneath that piece, okay? And so now just doing the same on the other side. So that's that first piece there. And just lifting it enough that you can fit your tail underneath. Okay, so now I need to pull that part quite tight. Alright, so just making sure you're happy with all your design on the front and it's all pulled nice and tight. Again, we're just going to do another simple knot to pull those tails together at the top. Okay, so you want it to just sit across the top of the cab there and sort of pull them all nice and tight. And then just pulling the knot on its side so that you can have one tail go down each side. See that there? Make sure it's nice and tight though, and it's going to sit on the top of the crystal there. Okay, so just bringing one side down, one tail down, and it goes underneath the middle, which is on the back. So in between those knots there, it's going to go there, and then you'll be able to pull it tight. So that will bring that part of the design up a little bit on that side. And then the other tail coming out of the simple knot is going to go down the front, and we'll just lift that up a little bit so that we can pop the tail underneath. You've just got to manipulate those twines until they're in the spot that you need. So it does take a little bit to get them in the right position. Then just making sure all your parts are nice and tight. There's nowhere that can slip off the cab. And just pulling each part through. Each crystal necklace I've made in this design has been slightly different, depending on the sizes of the knots and things like that, but the design I'm really happy with. And I've loved every one, but sometimes they're slightly different, the triangles on each side, but they're all very unique. Alright, so still just pulling it all nice and tight, getting it to look as symmetrical as you can. and those back knots should be up a little bit from the bottom, so you shouldn't be able to see the knots from the front. These knots are quite towards the bottom, which I don't really like. I like them hidden, but you still can't see them from the front, so it's okay. Once you're happy with all your design, we're just going to tie a square knot, which is just a simple knot one way and then a simple knot the other way. At the top there, just to secure it all, pull it nice and tight. Make sure your design's not going to unravel. Now is the time to pop your bead on if you wanted to. So I just pull one to the end and then snip that one piece off just to make them both even. And we pop our bead on now. So this is a bead with a bigger hole. It's about 2 mil the hole, just to fit on the wax twine, and then it just pops over and covers that knot down towards your crystal. Okay, so we're just going to do the adjustable part of our necklace now. So just laying our crystal necklace down on the table, sort of in the way that it will sit. So I just grab it in my left hand and hold it between my fingers with that tail at the back. Then I bring it over the front and down the back. Okay, and there's one loop there. So again, just bringing it over the front and down and out the back, and that creates our second little loop, and then I just poke that tail down through both loops. So just down the hole and then pulling it nice and tight. So there's one. Then I just swap the necklace onto the other side, onto the opposite side, and the same deal. So just holding it in your left hand with the tail at the back, and then bringing the tail over the front and out the back. And there's one loop, over the front and out the back, second loop, and then poking that tail down both the loops, and then pulling it nice and tight. I like to just snip that end off and singe it a little bit with a lighter, just because it's wax twine, and that will make sure it doesn't fray. So there it is, beautiful opalite crystal cab, and now it's strung so you can wear it as a necklace.